He looks so serious. Hey, everybody, welcome into the 815 Sports Podcast. Lucas, Jake here. Jake's got the sweet Brad Underwood sweater on. Nice to see we got 1 million viewers in the chat right now.
Fuck. It's going crazy. Viewers.
But first game, we got a chat. How do you guys get someone famous like Lucas Sharisky on there asking for a friend? I don't know. I just have some poll.
Found me on Pornhub.
Dude, come on. All right. Anyways, Texans, Chiefs. Lucas, your team. Who you got?
I think I'm going to take the Chiefs because I know if I take the Texans that the Chiefs will win because I rig it. But in all honesty, I think the Texans sort of had them the first game, but then that Tank Dell injury really changed the momentum of the game. And the Chiefs haven't really we can all sit here and say who they impressed. I think nobody, honestly.
No.
8.5 it was way too large of a number for sure, especially for a playoff game in this round. In all honesty, I think the Texans are going to come out on top.
So you got the Chiefs, and you're taking your Texans?
If I was to bet, I'd bet on the Chiefs, but it's because everything opposite that I've done. Yeah. I think the Texans will win.
Jake?
I don't think Kansas City has impressed anybody this year, and I know that's very weird to say with their record, but if you look at the games that the Kansas City Chiefs have won, a lot of them have come down on bullshit calls.
Yeah.
Official calls. I mean, when the Chiefs win, you're like, man, they won, but man, they didn't play good. And you know what? Good teams find a way to win. I ain't saying they're a good team, and I'm going to take the Chiefs, but this is going to be really close. And I just want it to be known that I took the Texans last week, and Cole and Mason didn't.
Haters.
So,
Cole's a fuck.
but the Texans are. This is going to be a sneaky. I think this is going to be a really, really close game, and it wouldn't shock me if the Texans won because Lucas is a Texans fan, and I said the three teams that are really good, obviously Buffalo, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. Out of those three teams, if the Texans had to choose which place to go,
100%.
I would probably choose Kansas City over the other two, to be honest. I would.
I agree. Stroud's angry too.
I'm going to take the Chiefs. I want to take the Texans, but the Chiefs have the referees on their side.
That's true.
And they're at home, tough place to play. I'm going to give the edge to Patrick Mahomes in this one. I do think the Texans can put up a fight, and I hope they win.
I think like this could be like a last like a game-winning field goal. Like, I really do, just because the Chiefs have blown nobody out this year. I mean, they almost lost in Carolina. They almost lost in Atlanta. I mean, we could keep going and going, and every single time they play, it's like, man, they escape.
And when they played each other, it was a close game until the injury. And Texans pass, I agree.
I agree.
CJ Stroud legacy
is going to make a name for him.
This is the playoffs now, so the Chiefs can't just like find a way to win. Like, they've got to play 4 quarters of football or they will lose. So we'll see if they continue their regular season success of barely winning, which I think they will.
I think if the Texans come out and force a turnover early, kind of like how the Eagles did against the Packers, and just kind of stun them, I think the whole thing changes. So, right off the kickoff, just go out there, drill the kick returner,
just like
get
what
the
the
ball.
Dolphins did in Green Bay, turn the ball over on the opening kick.
Yeah.
Just like the Packers did in Philly.
That's what great teams do, Jake. They turn it over the first play. Commanders, Lions. At Detroit, Lions, but I would take Commanders +9 if I was going to bet. But I'm done doing that. But I'm going to take the Lions. I just think they're loaded offensively. I think they're coming back. They're trying to get back to the Super Bowl after their tough loss last year to San Francisco. I just think Gibbs, St. Brown, Laporta, Campbell, the last year with these two coordinators, I think it's going to be too much for a young Washington team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's the Lions' year. 9's a lot. Probably be a close game. Daniels he's insane, but I think it's got, like you said, the coordinators. How much time left probably a couple more years. Goff's going to play like he is, but they have all the pieces this year. I think it's the year for them.
Goff's only 30.
I know.
I agree. The line, -9 is a lot, but I mean, if you think about it, it's really only a touch. I mean, it's not.
That's true.
I just feel like that it's not. I mean, it's not a lot, but it kind of looks like it is right now. I just feel like this is one of those games where like it's close till halftime, and then you start to see the separation. But the Lions have dropped some games at home. What's he saying?
Commanders will win a game winning. We'll make a game-winning doink field goal to win. I
Christ,
disagree.
Miller, I got to call you after this podcast, so make sure you're on your
Done
you're by your
betting?
phone.
Yeah, I'm done, Trevor. It's a complete waste of money. I'm done.
I like the Lions. That -9, I just don't know if I would go with. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do. I agree with what these guys said. The Lions at every position look really good. The coaching's there, and they obviously it goes through Detroit.
Yeah.
You haven't been able to say that many times. So if they were going to do it, it's going to be this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got it all in the grasp of your hands. You got all the home games, so you got to get it done now.
Yeah.
And that division's going to go downhill after this year.
I mean, look at the NFC North. We thought it was the best division, and there's one team remaining.
Yeah.
So, which that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean those teams are good and that division wasn't good. But I think maybe it was a little more overrated than we think.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
I think
fair.
the two
I think that's a
quarterbacks
fair
were
comment.
more overrated than
The NFC North was
People thought.
overrated. I don't think
No,
that's a
no.
far off comment.
Yeah. The AFC South has more wins this postseason than the NFC North and AFC West combined.
But,
it's a good stat.
yeah, that's
Well, I mean, Lions haven't played yet, but that's very true. Rams at Eagles. In this one, I kind of think that a Rams-Lions championship game, Stafford coming back to Detroit, I think that'd be cool to see. But I do think the Eagles are the better team. I don't think that they played well against Green Bay.
no.
I mean, they played like shit. The Rams played exceptionally well against Minnesota at a neutral site. I just think the Eagles are going to be too much for the Rams. I do think the Rams are going to be a powerhouse for the next few years. I mean, you look, they got so many young guys, especially on defense.
Yeah,
they're just
they're
phenomenal. The cap space is going to be coming for them. But the Eagles, you got Barkley, who carried them last game. Hurts, I mean, he's not the best.
Just does enough. Does what
He
he's
does
got to
enough.
do.
Their wide receivers were getting no separation last week, if you take a look. I do think the Rams can get home. They had 8 or 9 sacks last week against the Vikings. I think this one's going to be close, but I'm going to take the Eagles in Philly.
Yeah, I agree. Eagles did not. We sat there and watched that whole game. They did not play good at all.
No.
I think they figured out this week. The receivers weren't very utilized, but I'd give Green Bay credit. They really shut them down last game, but I think they find a way to open it up against the Rams secondary this week. And honestly, the Rams are good. They have key playmakers, but they're not very consistent to me. Some weeks they'll put up 3-4 touchdowns, and then they'll a field goal game. I just can't.
I think the Rams are good enough offensively to win it all.
Oh, 100%.
I think they are. I think they can line up with any team offensively and be like, we can go score for score with you. So this is my upset watch. I don't know if it's gonna. If I had to pick an upset this week, it would be Rams over the Eagles because I like the Rams. I think they're one of the most offensively gifted teams in the league. Like Cole said, they got to the quarterback last week, and what we thought was going to be a home game for the Rams turned into be a 50-50 split. And, I mean, it didn't bother the Rams. So, I mean, and give credit to the Cardinals for being able to do that, for the Rams to play there.
Kind of ironic it's at State Farm Stadium.
Right.
Just saying.
How about Cup this year?
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. I don't know. He had a few really good weeks. I was like, man, this is going to be great.
But I like the Eagles. And I the -6, I'm not sure, but I like the Eagles.
Yeah, it's tough. They have good defense too.
Yeah, they do. Ravens, Bills. This one's at Buffalo. I think Baltimore. I don't know. I don't ever like to pick them in the big game, and I like Josh Allen. I'm going to take the Bills.
That's simple.
Yeah, that's simple for me.
I'm going to take the Ravens. That's simple.
I agree.
I hate Lamar, but they're good.
I think I agree with Lucas. I think Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens need to shut up the critics, and they need to win. He needs to win that big game because if not, it's going to continue to haunt him his whole career until he finally wins that big game. And what better to do it at than winning at the Bills and beating Josh Allen? And look, I understand the Bills beat the Broncos last week, but I mean, it was 7-0 Denver. And then for a while, I mean, that game was just kind of just methodically, it wasn't much going on. I know the Bills won, but I think Baltimore is just as explosive as Buffalo. And if the Bills get off to a slow start versus Baltimore, that could come back to bite them in the ass later in the game.
You got to remember Baltimore smoked Buffalo earlier in the game.
I'm taking Baltimore. I think this is the year they're good enough to win it all. Look, every team left can pretty much win it all at this point.
I agree.
But I'm taking Baltimore. I think they're just a little bit better than the Bills. But with that game being in Buffalo, weird things happen when the home team's at home in the playoffs. But I'm taking Baltimore.
We talk a lot about Lamar not winning the big game, but I mean Josh Allen.
He hasn't won the big game.
He hasn't won the big game.
Say what you want. Nobody ever fucking talks about that. That Josh Allen doesn't win the big game, but has he?
No, because he hasn't knocked off Mahomes yet.
I mean, I know that he's beaten Mahomes in the regular season.
I mean, there's 2 guys left with the Super Bowl championship, and Mahomes and Stafford.
But
a few guys with Super Bowl appearances.
If you think about the Buffalo Bills' path to the Super Bowl and beating Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, on paper right now, probably at Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, and then in the Super Bowl, maybe having to beat the Lions or the Eagles. I am the biggest Buffalo Bills hater ever. That could be one of the greatest Super Bowl runs of all time.
Yeah, that's a gauntlet.
I mean, that's brutal.
I agree.
Henry,
I think
changer.
That's the thing. I think if the Ravens' success in this game would be to run the ball with Henry and run the clock out, keep time of possession in your favor, because the thing with the Bills is, man, they score so quick with Allen that they're always giving the ball back, and that's where it could go score. But if you're the Ravens and you want to win on the road, run the ball, run the clock out, keep the ball in your possession, and you know what? You look up and it's third quarter, and you got a chance to win the game.
A lot of Buffalo's success, I think, has to do with James Cook too.
Yeah, he's had a hell of a year.
Do you see him running all over Baltimore?
I don't, but I see the reverse happening. I can see Henry running all over Buffalo.
I agree. That's why I took Ravens.
I think the Ravens are a smidge better coach too, and I just feel like this year is going to be different for Baltimore in this game. Who knows?
Well, I mean, if they win. Let's say the Chiefs win. I mean, they're right back in the same situation they were last year. And they kind of almost had that game. If you remember, what's his name? Was it Zay Flowers had that fumble? He was going to score and he fumbled.
Yep.
And that was pretty much it from there. But
I do think that'll be big, them not having him, especially in this game.
Yeah. Oh, he's not playing this week? Oh, shit, I didn't know that. They just cut – which team just cut Deontay Johnson?
Texans.
That guy's never going to play in the NFL.
No. And I seen a TikTok. He ran 6 routes, and he was wide open. Yeah. All 6 routes that he ran. They didn't even look at him. He must be a terrible teammate or something.
He has to be a terrible teammate. What did he get cut from? 3 or 4 teams so far this year? Yeah. Because he played for the
Carolina. Yeah.
The Ravens. He was with the Ravens for a short stint.
Did you guys see that the fucking Dolphins are giving up one of their home games to play in Spain? Is that where it is next year?
What?
Well, is that by choice or is that by the NFL?
I don't know. It's probably by the NFL, but the Dolphins can decline it, and it goes to another team. But you know what? The Miami Dolphins don't give a fuck because they like to fuck their fans and spend all this money. And now you know what? Now we're gonna take one of your home games and play it in Spain. Great job.
We don't even know.
You haven't won a playoff game since you guys were fucking born. But let's take one of our home games and play it overseas. Great job, Stephen Ross and the Miami Dolphins.
Actually, Miami's never won a playoff game in my lifetime.
Do you know who they're playing?
That's what I said. They said the other team, but I don't remember who it is.
Probably Carolina.
Well, usually somebody has to give up a home team.
Yeah, it's Miami giving up a home game. Why are we playing these games overseas? It's a money grab. You're gonna make enough money in the States. Who cares? I hate that it's the Dolphins having to give up a home game.
Plus, a lot of players seem to get hurt in those.
Shasko says, "What's up, fellas?"
What's up, Shasko?
Trevor says, Jake, you're going to Spade.
Our car's going to
No,
Spain,
no,
baby.
no,
Our car's going to Spade.
You know
We're
what?
taking a guy's trip
I
to
have not
Spain.
seen the Miami fucking feeble Dolphins win a playoff game in my life. I will not spend money on a play.
Jesus.
No,
Our car wouldn't
they
make it
have to
past
win
the
a. They have
border.
to win a playoff game. You have to win a playoff game. I mean, it's unbelievable that I haven't fucking seen it. It's the only team of mine that I have not seen win a playoff game.
Keep Jacksonville to those games, you know. Like,
I agree.
not Miami.
I mean,
it seems like they like the Florida teams.
they do, and it's because, well, the Bucs have been pretty good, honestly, in our life. 2 Super Bowl rings, always in the playoffs, but
Yeah. Baker's they got a QB for at least the next few years.
hey, Baker he
Baker
might be the
was
most
good this
underrated
year.
quarterback in the NFL.
I want to get before we end this. I want to get your take, Hardcar, on the next couple of years with the quarterbacks in the NFC North. What do you think about it? Like Darnold and Love?
Give me Malik.
I think
Willis.
Caleb Williams.
You know
he's a-
what? I think that Jordan Love might be the most. If I had to pick a team that could have the most success the next 5 to 7 years, just because of historically how good they've been, I would pick the Packers based off of what I've seen in my life
with Love.
with Love.
Okay.
Because you haven't seen Detroit be great every year.
Mhm.
Now, the last couple, that's going to be their arch nemesis for the next 4 or 5 years. I don't know about Minnesota. They're the best regular season team, and then they get to the postseason, they fucking suck. And the Bears are a literal wild card. I mean, are they going to be good, or are you going to just be what every Chicago team is and suck? So I would take, if I was betting, I would take Jordan Love and the Packers to have the most success over the next 5 to 7 years. And that's not saying winning a Super Bowl. The league is too talented at the quarterback position for a team with a mediocre or even a good quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You have to have a great one. And I don't know if Jordan Love is on that line of good but not great.
What about?
I would pick the Packers.
What about Darnold? You think he's the answer in Minnesota?
No, I don't.
I don't think he plays for
I
Minnesota.
just think
especially with JJ.
Minnesota is such a good, like everything is good on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Not great. And that's why they had a good
I
year.
think that about the Packers. I feel like they're very similar. Obviously, I take Jordan.
They
Love
are, but
over
Darnold,
but-
just based off of success, like every year it seems like the Packers win 10 games and here they are having a chance, but
that's because you have the Bears in the division. You have Minnesota, who previously later in the season they dropped games.
The Packers regressed this year.
they
And
And
did.
all of their players were
They
more
did.
experienced this year, and they regressed.
But they
because
did
they had San Francisco on the ropes
They
to
did
make it to
enough.
the NFC Championship game.
They did enough, and I just feel like they'll continue to do enough.
No way to what?
I think he was talking about Jake's love take.
No, I'm not saying he's the
Well,
best quarterback. I don't know. I just think the Packers are going to have the most success because
It's because they're thinking Bears. I already know.
Well, I mean,
they're like Bears. We don't run.
every year the Packers are in the playoffs.
Look,
Name me a year they weren't.
No, I
2022.
agree with you.
Okay, other than 2022, what?
and the reason we weren't in the playoffs because we lost to the Lions. Besides that, we weren't in the playoffs in 2018.
But I mean, it just like every
Other
year
than
the
that, every
Packers
year.
are relevant. Like I would
Yeah.
love for the Dolphins
you
to be
never-
like that.
You can't foresee a future of a year of the Packers being dog shit.
Best team in the NFC next year. Trevor, I feel like we've heard this for a decade.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I agreed. I would agree. If Trevor would have said that before the season, I would have probably agreed with him.
I would have too.
I was on the Bears till about
They're
week
gonna
10.
be, I think they're gonna be good.
I think
It depends on the coach.
Well, I'll say this about you're asking about the quarterback situation. I'm not saying that the Bears are going to be the best
They
team,
have the
in
brightest
North,
future.
but I think Caleb Williams is the most talented quarterback in
Sure.
the division.
Agreed.
But they need to make a good hire, and I think they're going to mess it up. I
agree
think-
with that 100%.
I think Ben Johnson's going to go to the Raiders,
And I think Mike
and then they're going to
McCarthy's
end up
gonna
with
go to the Bears.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying McCarthy's a bad coach. My dad says I want. What the hell did he just say? Let's see. He says I want Super Bowl, not making the playoffs. Should have had more than 2 rings with Favre and Rodgers. Yeah, that's correct,
yeah.
Dad. I mean,
Hire
Marcus Freeman.
It just goes.
He'd be better than McCarthy,
Yeah.
though.
Mike McCarthy, Bears
He's
next
gonna be
coach.
the Bears next
He
coach.
is.
It just goes to show you how hard it is to win in the playoffs. I mean, if you don't have a top-notch quarterback, you can make the playoffs, but you're
I
gonna
agree.
lose. So it's the same with the Dolphins. Like
I mean, yeah, you're right, Jake. If you look, I mean, the Packers game, the defense played pretty good. I would say the entire reason they lost the game is Love had 3 picks and they fumbled the opening kickoff, which they clearly recovered. I mean, they clearly recovered that.
I think it was one of those whatever they call in the field stands.
Well, I don't know, Jake. I mean, they clearly showed on the
I'm just
replay.
telling you, that's what happens.
But it is what it is. Arthur Smith. If Arthur Smith gets the Bears job, they're going to be terrible.
You know they're going to screw it up.
If they hire Arthur Smith,
You know what?
that's worse than McCarthy.
I'll say this about Mike McCarthy. You can say what you want about Mike McCarthy. His track record speaks for itself. He's won in multiple places.
Yeah.
Okay, this year he had Cooper Rush for half the year. He's had Dak Prescott when he's been really good. They've won. He won in Green Bay. Did he not win? Was he the coach when they won the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I agree, Trevor.
I mean, Mike McCarthy wouldn't be my number one, but I think he would be in. He should be in the top 5. His track record speaks for himself.
Yeah.
Top 5 for what? No Pete Carroll, you think?
I
think
No,
Pete Carroll.
I think
Pete Carroll
I
could
think
be
Pete
up
Carroll's
there, but
too
it's
old.
just what are you doing? Why do you want a 72-year-old coach? It's just like, why did North Carolina hire Bill Belichick?
Because you have a quarterback that acts like he's in high school and fucking.
What do you guys think of the alternative to the onside kick? The 4th and 20? I don't like it. I mean, I do like it if my team is trying to get the 4th and 20, but if I'm defending the 4th and 20, I know that my team will give it up more times than not. So I don't like that. I think it's interesting because I think it gives teams more of a chance to get the ball back.
You know, I've had this pet peeve since the season. I hate that the fucking kickoff is you get it at the 30.
Yeah.
Like, one play and you're at midfield and it's like, whoa, like what the fuck? Here they already are. And now field goal kickers are kicking 55, 60-yard field goals. It's like pass interference call and they're already like, I'm like, why? I hate the kickoff at the 30.
I agree. The new kickoff sucks.
I don't like
you just
that.
say that because first play of the Packers game.
I didn't like it all year, dude. I didn't like it all year. I liked it better. Remember, like, I don't know, probably over a decade ago when they used to take a knee and they'd get it at the 20.
Yeah.
And then they started getting it at the 25. And this
20. Go
I
back
mean,
to the 20.
give me
like,
another 5 years and they'll probably be getting it at the 40.
You know what? It's because
They won't even do a kickoff in 5 years or
Yeah.
some shit.
the fans want offense. They want offense, and that's what the league gave us. So
Yeah, I agree.
Emily says, Lucas, don't yell at me. Is Marcus Freeman going to coach the NFL?
I don't think. Well, he'd be an idiot to leave Notre
no,
Dame.
I don't.
Stupid.
I don't think he's gonna leave yet. I think that's definitely in his future.
He'll go to like New York in like a couple years.
Yeah, like I feel like the NFL's in his future just because you always want to take that next step. But it might not be that next step money-wise anymore because these colleges are starting to play these
That's why I
coaches.
said he'd be dumb to go.
I mean, we're talking like the University of Illinois playing coaches like $5-6 million. Like you talk about bigger schools with more NIL, like these coaches are getting paid.
Did you
Some
see
of
how
them
much?
might not
Did
leave.
you see how much Quinn Ewers got offered to stay in college? When he decided to go to the draft, he's projected to be like a 3rd-round pick.
It couldn't have been more than Carson
He got
Beck.
offered $8 million. Carson Beck got 10.
Well, he didn't get 10 from Miami. He got 10 because of all the endorsed, like all the other things that are going on. Like
Yeah, the name and okay.
yeah, but no, I get it. Miami gave Carson Beck $10 million.
But Ewers got offered $8 million, and if he gets drafted in the 3rd round, he'll only make $5 million for his whole first contract.
Yeah. Well, did you see that Sanders was like, damn, like I need to go back to college, and it's like, well, you had to know that it was just going to change. Like
Trevor says Freeman's about to win the ship. Oops.
We could talk about that for a second.
Yeah, who you guys got in the national championship game?
I think Notre Dame will win.
I mean,
Blue Holds.
It's obvious. I mean, everybody is probably going to tell you Ohio State's a better team, right? They might be. But there's just something about this Notre Dame team this year. I think that loss to NIU really stung, and I think they really took that to heart. I think this is going to be a really good game, but I like Ohio State.
They're definitely the better team, 100%.
I think Notre Dame can play with heart and passion till like halftime, but maybe in the second half is where you kind of see like, it start to go the one way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I've been wrong about Notre Dame all year, so
Give me OH.
Me too.
I would say OH. I
Give me
would say
OH.
IO. I
Yeah.
think Ohio State wins. I mean, really, really close game.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be close.
No?
I think Ohio State is going to put the cherry on top of their season and just
Now,
blow them out
does
of the water.
this? We were talking
Ryan
about.
Day's an idiot.
We were
Chip
talking
Kelly's an
about
idiot.
Ryan Day being fired, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would take Ryan Day at
What I mean,
Oklahoma.
other than beating Michigan, like, do you think Ohio State fans got to be content with we won the national championship, right? Like, they're still not going to bitch at it because he lost to
The
Michigan.
guy
right?
hasn't even lost 10 games in his
Don't
career
matter.
yet.
No, but I'm saying, do you understand when they lost to Michigan, they wanted to fire?
Yeah.
And even up
They
until
got
the playoff
embarrassed.
game, the first playoff game when they smoked Tennessee, they wanted him fired.
Yeah.
For
That's how
one
all
game.
those fans are, though.
But Ryan Day is a great coach. Ohio State would be silly to fire him. I mean, if you lose to Michigan every year but win the national championship, so be it.
Yeah.
Look at Michigan had an okay season. They beat Alabama to
But
salvage
I
it,
think
but
I think them losing to Michigan was the best thing for their season.
could have been
That absolutely
Yeah,
pissed the
embarrassed.
team off.
because
And
it
they've been-
was also a home loss, correct?
Yeah, they've been playing with their hair on fire since then. And they lost to a
I think-
Michigan team that was like what 6-5,
Yeah,
and then they beat Bama.
I
But
think Will Howard stepped up his game. That's the huge difference. 'Cause
Yeah.
Now he's actually throwing the ball downfield.
I
Jenkins
just
is insane.
how big of a game is that going to be next year in Champaign, Ohio State?
Illinois
in
wins, so
Champaign.
it don't really matter.
That's going to be game of the year.
I think Illinois
You-
could be good next year in
Tickets,
football.
tickets
be
now
good.
for that game, $650.
They're already for sale.
Yeah,
How we want
not
to-
all, just
You better be working some overtime.
No, I'm
Hey,
getting
can we
season
do
tickets.
podcast sponsor that game? 3 tickets for us. 815
Cole?
Sports Pod
Oh, gee.
sponsors that game for us.
Maybe if I hit
we
the
go.
lotto.
Maybe
we
we
can
can
live stream from there.
maybe we
There
can
we
do
go.
week 1 when they play like SIU and
Yeah.
we can get 3 tickets for $10.
That's more.
But
like
no, Trevor, I do think it's going to be a great game, and Notre Dame's had a great
They
season,
do.
and I've been wrong.
Heart always wins.
Um,
I think.
Now, people want to say they drew whatever team they drew. Sure, they missed probably the better teams. I mean, you got Penn State, you
Well,
got
that whole
and
brand.
you got Indiana, but you know what? That's what the fucking fans wanted, so that's what they got. Notre Dame did what they had to
Penn
do.
State could have won.
Now, if Notre Dame would have played Oregon, I probably would have took Oregon. I might have even taken Tennessee, but that's not how the cookie crumbles all the time. Sometimes you get good draws. Notre Dame got a good draw. Notre Dame won, and this is coming from not a Notre Dame guy. They got a good draw. They won. They got it done, and now let's see what they do. But
and the no conference stuff.
yeah,
I don't think you can really hate on
that's
that now.
that's another conversation. I'd like to have.
Well, it makes a lot of sense from a financial standpoint.
It'd be
Just
stupid
stay.
to join
Yeah.
a conference
Just-
at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if
But
they win
during-
the national championship, they get all the money. They don't have to
But
pay.
during COVID, they weren't getting money and they needed help, and the ACC was like, "All right, we'll
Really?
come." And then they made because
No
remember
fans.
that one year they were in the ACC because they needed they got TV money deals. But how often is COVID? I mean,
Hopefully,
that
never
might
again.
never happen again.
Hopefully, never. again.
But it's just like I would maybe like to just see like Notre Dame maybe schedule like
I think they will.
I understand you gotta. Do you have to schedule Navy and Army every year in Stanford? I mean, those teams aren't good. I mean, I
think they do. With a history of.
I
playing
just
those
would like to
teams.
see. I would like to see them play.
I think
like,
there should be like a Texas in there or like.
agreed.
Texas A&M. They played Texas A&M.
They did, but I mean,
Yeah,
can
that
you-
was
but,
that was a game.
but can you have another one? Because if you played in the Big Ten and you had to go, say you got Michigan, Ohio State, and say you got Penn State, but you missed out on the others. Like, you know how in the Big Ten every year you're going to get 2 or 3 games
Oh, yeah,
a year.
100%, yeah.
Every like even like going to play at Iowa would be hard. You know what I mean? Because
I
like
agree with that. But
I mean, just think NIU went to Notre Dame and won. You don't think Big Ten schools could?
I think next year will be a big year because it's going to depend how they do the playoffs.
It-
Because right now who they let in?
Next year, there's supposed to be 14 teams.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
and they let in.
I mean, at this point, why don't we just fucking make it March Madness and have a 64 team
No,
bracket?
just hold on a second.
That'd be
Everybody was
awesome.
pissed. Everybody was pissed when only 4 teams got in. I like the 12-team playoff.
I like 14.
I don't mind the 12.
If
but
you
the
weren't
first-
doing the 12-team, Notre Dame wouldn't even have got in.
weren't they 7?
Yeah, they wouldn't even have got in.
No.
So you got to like in Ohio State wouldn't have got in. So
I
you have
agree,
to
but-
say that it made sense.
But I'm for putting the SEC teams in then, and not the Indianas and the SMUs and the teams that are garbage. Because
They did
Indiana,
14. Illinois would be in this year.
yeah, and I you know what I mean? Like, just put the best teams in then, okay? Let's not put in just these teams because they went 12-1. Because as you can see, Indiana had no business playing. Notre
well,
Dame.
I think you still got to give some respect to those teams because then what's the point of even playing if it's only the SEC, Big Ten, and Notre Dame that gets in every year?
Okay.
There's no point in the ACC playing. There's no point in anybody else playing college football.
Well, if they don't change having a cookie schedule but being undefeated, letting them in.
No, but
Like
yeah,
Indiana,
just schedule like
There's
non-conference.
one team I think in the Big Ten that will luck out with that schedule every year.
look out what
With,
schedule?
with like not having to play the best in the Big Ten. I think every year
Are you
there's
saying
one
a certain
team.
team or just?
Yeah, there's one certain team every year that will fall and
What's
have
that
that.
certain team?
I don't know what it is next year, but I'm just
So it's not a
saying.
certain
You know
team.
what?
No,
I'm
I
just
swear to
telling
you
you.
there is. If you go look at there's a team that has an Indiana poll
Yes,
next year.
next year Illinois could be your Indiana because they have a decent non-conference.
Okay, so
schedule.
then if say Illinois is good next year, they
Lucas,
have
your
that.
dad says SEC is dog shit.
He's right. He's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
They weren't.
What was I
He's
saying?
100% right.
So say Illinois has a cookie schedule next year, right? And they don't get in, or they do get in. You're going to say they deserve to get in, which I will too.
I will, but I will because this team proved it this year, and they brought the same team back.
I agree,
So
but-
you're not switching much. And you're also beating Ohio State at home. You're beating USC at home.
Well, hold on a second now. You're just saying they're going to beat Ohio
No,
State
but
next year.
but
They will.
But they have to be 10-1 or 11, 10-2 to be in,
two
right?
losses, they'll get in.
But so they have to win one of these big games, or no, they will
Yeah.
not get no recognition.
Because I think the committee takes into account how tough the Big Ten is.
Oh,
Them
yeah,
and the SEC.
the Big
I mean,
Ten.
they get respected differently. That's
Adding
not an
Oregon
opinion, that's a
and
fact.
Washington and USC.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Speaking of that, you see what
conference is crazy.
UCLA's basketball coach said about the Big Ten?
Oh yeah,
That was
What'd he say?
That's cool that he said that. He said that
it's like a gauntlet.
Yeah.
It's way harder than what he has ever had to coach. And I've been saying that for years, and everyone says I'm wrong. Well, here you go. You got a coach that coached in. They were in the Pac-12?
Yeah.
Not a bad conference for basketball. Come into the Big Ten, and man, they have just struggled. They have a
Yeah.
high NIL roster.
Washington too.
They're really good. Washington is absolute dog shit. Oregon's okay. Illinois whacked them.
Even football, like I don't see maybe a year here and there, but USC, UCLA, Washington, I don't ever see them controlling.
No,
the Big Ten.
and wait till these West Coast teams have to come to the Midwest in November and play in 50-degree football weather when it's sunny and 70 at all their games.
Oregon's different though. They're just
Oregon's
Oregon-
different level.
Oregon's a football.
Oregon and
team.
Ohio State get the best NIL.
Oregon's a
Oregon
football
has
team.
Nike
Yes, Oregon.
right there.
Oregon's a different animal. They're great every year for a while now.
I agree.
Yeah, the thing with Ohio State though is they have the biggest NIL every year. Hey, what time the Bears play? God, Bears fans, dude. Not like.
What is Miller saying? We are so off topic.
What was our
for?
topic we were on?
Well, I don't know. NFL
Miller, we've
playoffs,
already
and we
talked
start
about
talking
NFL playoffs.
So-
Where you at, bro? Go sell. You sell how many cards you sell today?
It's got to be Lions' year. They don't have a mobile quarterback, and that's what's taking over. So it's their year this year, and then they're done forever.
I got nothing else to say about the
That's
NFL
all.
playoffs.
That's
We probably could have ended this 20 minutes ago.
Probably one.
He said he sold one.
one. There you go. I'm gonna be calling you in about 5 minutes.
All right, we'll see you guys. Everybody have a good week. Enjoy the games.